Yo, what's going on, peeps? Let's take these headphones off because I don't fucking need them. Welcome to the Good, the Bad, the Ugly podcast. Today I have a very special guest. I'm not going to say their name because I don't want them to get in trouble, but they have recently resigned from the Metropolitan Police. Can I say that? Is that cool?
Yeah.
Cool. This is our dark series where we don't show anyone's face because the DPS are haters. It's true. It's true, right?
Yeah,
okay,
it is
cool.
true.
I'm not here.
They probably, someone might know my voice, but we'll see.
Oh, people can always guess. There's like 38,000 police officers. Are they gonna know you?
About that, but
Someone gonna write.
I'm sure someone will. Well, they'll know my story anyway, but
They shouldn't.
we'll see.
But So what were you just asking me?
No, I said, why don't you video record anymore?
Oh, yeah. I've taken a pause on video recording because the Metropolitan Police. You know what? Let me rephrase that. It's not the Metropolitan Police. It's the DPS. The DPS are investigating me. Oh, I need to tell you this. Whoa. Part of my restrictions, which I don't really have anymore, but I'm still going to adhere to them because you know the DPS are just dodgy people. I have to disclose that I'm under investigation. Are you okay with that?
Mm-hmm. What, you have to disclose in your podcast that you're under investigation?
I have to tell anyone that comes on the podcast. That was one of my restrictions, like prior to being suspended.
I wonder what the reasoning behind that is.
Because they think that will deter people.
Okay.
But what they don't understand is people don't care. They want to just be able to tell the truth.
Yeah, no, it doesn't bother me at all.
Alright, cool. So where do you want to start? How long have you been in the Met?
I will start. I've been in the Met. So we were talking about this earlier, how we met. Mm-hmm. We met in 2011 when we were both specials in Wandsworth.
Yep.
So I've been in the Met since 2011, being paid since 2014. So joined as a PC in 2014. So 9.5 years as a PC.
Did you join at the same time? I feel like we did.
No, you joined a little bit before me.
Okay.
Maybe like a year and a half before me.
Because I've been here for over 10 years.
Yeah, so I'm 9.5. I'll be 10 in May 2024. So I joined May 2014.
Why did you want to do this job anyway?
Why did I want to do this job? Honest answer, I wanted to do this because I'm quite a nosy person. And I do like being in people's business. That's why I wanted to do this job.
Yeah, honest.
And I like knowing things about things that probably wouldn't concern me unless I was a police officer. And yeah, that's how I initially started out.
I respect that answer. I mean, most people
say, I want to make a difference. Obviously, I did want to do that, but I was a nosy person. And obviously, I used to watch like crime dramas and stuff on the TV. I don't even think I watched The Bill, actually.
You're too young to watch The Bill.
No, I'm not too young.
You are too young.
The Bill was what?
The Bill was a million.
Early 2000s, late 90s?
Not too... Fam.
No, it wasn't before that. It was still running.
Let me do...
It was still running.
The Bill...
No, I did watch it as a kid. I was born in 1993. So I definitely would have seen The Bill on TV.
Final episode was 2010.
Exactly.
Yeah, well,
exactly. And when did it start? 90s. Maybe 80s, I don't know. You got me guessing now.
Stand by 1984.
Okay.
Exactly.
10 years, nearly 10 years before I was born.
You came in like halfway.
Anyway, but yes, I did used to watch it kind of as a kid, but not really. It's not the reason I wanted to join the Metropolitan Police. No.
So what was your experiences like in the Met? Actually, you know what? Let's just get to the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
Why did you resign?
Because I was forced to resign. I was pushed into a corner where I had no other option than to resign. I didn't want to resign, but I was made to resign, or I would have got dismissed, and then that would have tarnished my future in whatever other job that I intend to do going forward. So I had to resign.
How did it make you?
How did it what?
Yeah, how did it go down? How did they make you resign?
So let me start at the beginning because otherwise it's going to have no context.
Yeah, man.
So basically, joined in 2014, went to response team. Yeah, it was fine. No issues really, to be honest. 2017, skipped to 2017, I started a relationship with someone who a few months down the line told me that they had previous criminal convictions. Policy states that if you're aware that you're around anyone with criminal convictions, you have to declare it, which is called a declarable association policy. So obviously me, being the squeaky clean officer that I was and still am, went to my supervisor, told him I started a new relationship, told him that he'd let me know that he had previous convictions and declared him. So that all went through, and from the moment that I did that I have had a target on my head, and it's gone downhill from there. So it started off as a medium risk, declarable association, and then it got sent to the DPS, who decided it was a high risk.
So when you say medium risk, what was happening to you when it was a medium risk?
So it was nothing was actually happening at the time. So it was on paper as a medium risk, and I didn't have any restrictions, anything like that. So nothing was really happening. And then I think it was like within like a month, it went up to a high risk, because apparently the person who assessed it first didn't do their job properly, according to the DPS. And that they had to do it, and they did it properly, and they deemed it to be a high risk. Don't know what happened there, but whatever. So it went up to them, and the minute it went up to them, my life was hell, basically. Absolute hell.
So what kind of restrictions did they place on you?
So I'm thinking some. So I wasn't allowed to access certain material in relation to a certain borough.
Yeah.
I wasn't.
I'm guessing the one that what
Yeah.
he lived in, or
yeah, the one that he lived in, which was fine. Wasn't allowed to search any intelligence in relation to that borough. That's fine.
Yeah, fine.
Wouldn't have needed to do that in my job anyway, because I worked south area, which is Sutton, Croydon and Bromley. So that was fine. I wasn't allowed to view. What else wasn't I allowed to do? Just anything in relation to that borough. So that was the initial ones they put on. And I wasn't allowed to work in that borough as well. So say I wanted a transfer to that borough, they wouldn't let me. So those were the initial ones. And then time passed, and then we actually separated. And I told them that we separated. And when we separated, the restrictions actually got more strict. And they told me that every single time I have contact with him, whether that's a WhatsApp, an email, a text, every single time I had to declare it to the DPS.
How did you have to declare it?
So I'd have to submit a form with every single bit of contact I'd had with him, time, date, literally I'm talking every single bit. And I'd have to submit this on a form to the DPS. Bearing in mind we'd separated at this point, but they put that in place. What happened is there's so much has happened.
How many times did you have? Did you actually do that?
Yeah, I did that. I'd write on this bit of paper, had a WhatsApp conversation.
Did they ever ask see them?
No, they never asked to see them. Had a phone call, because I said to them, I was honest with them. I said, we split up, but doesn't mean that we're never going to speak to each other ever again. Yeah. And the reason we had split up was because the job essentially told me it's me, or it's the job, or it's him.
Yeah.
You can't have both. So I decided, I love my job, I need the money. So I decided to end it. But I said, it's not going to be as easy for me to just walk away completely. So I told them that I'm going to be having some contact. And then that's when they put those restrictions in place. And then during COVID, I didn't have my meetings with the DPS, because usually we have a yearly review. And they failed to hold a few of the meetings. And I didn't tell them about a few conversations that we'd had. I think it was three conversations that we'd had on the phone and WhatsApp. And then that's when I was given gross misconduct for not declaring those bits of contact that we'd had.
And what was the outcome for the gross misconduct?
The outcome of my gross misconduct was, so I was founded guilty of honesty and integrity because apparently I lied to a supervisor, which
Saying what?
apparently he asked me, are you still in contact with him? Which he didn't. He asked me, are you still in a relationship with him? And I said no, because I wasn't still in a relationship with him. So apparently, yeah, that was honesty and integrity because I'd lied to the supervisor. And orders and instructions because I'd failed to report the contact properly to the DPS of these orders and instructions that they'd composed specifically for me. And I was given a final written warning. So I kept my job for 5 years.
What?
5 years.
Let it sink in. Yeah. Just so
when
people
the
context.
usual average final written warning is what, 18 months?
Yeah, the guy that was being racist to me that got final written warning had it for like 2 years. So racism, this is what I'm
That's
saying.
what I mean.
Racism, they don't care about.
No, they don't. And
anything else, they're like.
And if you actually deep it and you actually think like, what did I actually do? Like, there was no harm that came to the Met. There was no harm that came to anyone else. Like, I forgot to tell them about a couple of phone conversations or text messages, and they failed to carry out their yearly meetings. So we were having no contact with each other through the time of COVID, like me and the DPS.
So in the misconduct, yeah, did you have a misconduct hearing?
Yeah, I had a misconduct hearing.
And in it, did you find that did you feel as though like, so let me rephrase this, prior to it, did you feel like your Fed rep protected you and defended you or explained stuff properly, or do you think they could have done it better?
He definitely could have done it better. Definitely could have done it better. At times, I felt like he was in cahoots with them.
So this is what I was going to go on to, and this is what I personally think a lot of people need to know. A lot of officers need to know this, and the Fed reps are going to get on to me about this, and they're not going to hate me, and I don't care, to be honest. Like, you should know by now. I don't really give a shit about anyone in that job. Fed reps should not be police officers.
No, they shouldn't.
You should have an independent person advising us.
100%.
The fact that the Metropolitan Police say, well, we're going to get people within this job to which I can control to investigate or support or defend officers that are under misconduct and give them the best advice, and I can still control that person. That's messed up. That doesn't happen anywhere in the world. Generally, it's always an independent person. And but within the Met, it's like, oh, no, honesty and integrity. They're like, oh, yeah, don't worry, this person's got honesty and integrity. Well, if everyone did, then we wouldn't need them.
Exactly. Like, even when I speak to, like, family and friends, they're like, oh, so what? Fed reps are police officers? I'm like, yeah. They're like, how does that work?
Yeah.
Because that's not independent. And they all know each other.
And what makes it worse is the longer the Fed rep's been there, the more likely they are to know, like, everyone in the DPS and the PSU. And for anyone that doesn't understand what the DPS is, it's the Directorate of Professional Standards. They're, I'm thinking, should I filter myself or not?
They're what, are you trying to find a way to describe them?
I want to be honest, but
yeah, be
then
honest.
I have to be, mildly professional. They're not favoured by officers in the Metropolitan Police. They're police officers that investigate police officers.
Yeah.
And me personally, so I'll speak for myself, I won't speak for everyone. I find it very, very strange if you want to be a police officer that investigates police officers. It's weird.
Yeah.
I find it totally strange. It's beyond the power trip. It's like, I understand the necessity, totally. But someone actually wanting to be that, I find so strange.
I do as well. And
then on top of that, one of my points I've made, and I've said this on Twitter, when was the last time you heard of a DPS officer getting done for like misconduct? That's
what I mean. Like, who regulates them? Who's watching what they're doing?
Who do you complain to?
Exactly.
And I tweeted this, I said, oh my gosh, so if the DPS are doing misconduct and I want to report it, who do I report it to? Oh, the DPS.
Exactly, who all know each other and can make it go away.
Work in the same office, brethren for how long, go out for work, drinks, talk to each other about cases even though they shouldn't. And I'm going to get misconduct for saying that. Like, 1,000,000% I'm going to get misconduct, but it's the truth. It's the truth, and no one can tell me that I'm wrong. They talk to the Fed reps. The Fed reps have to work with them, so some of them are gonna be friends.
Yeah.
So think about it. Me and you, I could be in the DPS, and you could be a Fed rep, and we've known each other since 2000 whatever.
Yeah.
So and you could just come to me and just be like, yo, you know what, I've got this person. He's a bit of a dickhead. I don't really like him.
Definitely.
And yeah, just do this. I'll advise him this, and all you have to do is this.
Exactly.
And just get rid of him that way. And I guarantee you that's happened before.
Of course it happens. Even before, like, one of my meetings that I had once with the DPS, my Fed rep actually said to me, I've had a word with so-and-so, and she's told me that it's going to go like this. It's like, right? And this made me think, so, sorry, whose side? You're supposed to be on my side here. You're supposed to be fighting my corner, but you're pally with them, and you're telling me that you've had a word and it's going to go this way. It's like, from that moment on, I don't trust you. Do not trust you.
So for everyone listening, it often goes that way. The decision's already made before you even go into any misconduct. They've normally made their mind up, because what's really, really strange is that for your gross misconduct, they interview you prior.
No.
So let's give context to anyone listening. In the police, what happens is you get an allegation, normally. The police come, they talk to everyone, then they normally make a decision, well, our job is to collect evidence. So we'll collect evidence, and then pass it on to whoever. And then, like, CPS will make a decision, or whoever. The DPS don't work that way, they work backwards. What they do is they get an allegation, and then what they do is they try their best to prove that allegation to be true without speaking to you. And then they give you the opportunity right at the end to defend yourself after they've tarnished your name to everyone.
Yep.
So it's very, very malicious and deliberate what they do. They just go, well, what I can do is throw as much mud at this person and say they've done this, paint a picture to everyone about you, and then you go in and you're at a hearing and you're like, oh yeah, I didn't do that. And they're like, well, everyone's thinking you're some kiddie fiddler or some rapist or whatever, and it's like, no, this is just what they're saying I did. I've not had an opportunity. Think about it. You arrest someone, you have to interview them.
To give them their opportunity to speak.
You don't get your opportunity until you're basically in court. Imagine that. Imagine getting alleged something. So for anyone listening, it's like saying your partner says he beat me up. The police come into your house, arresting you, taking you directly to court. Then you're sitting in front of a jury, and that's when you get to say, oh, actually, no, I didn't do it because I was in Jamaica.
This is my side of the story.
There. Yeah, you don't get to tell your story.
Yeah.
So, sorry, I jumped in there. But go on, where did you leave off? You were at...
So, misconduct. So, no, you asked me how long my final written warning was, and I said 5 years. So, I got given the maximum final written warning, and alongside that, I was taken off the evidential chain. So, what that means is I essentially wasn't allowed to do the role of a police officer. So I wasn't allowed to take statements, I wasn't allowed to arrest people. Essentially, I wasn't allowed to do anything evidential, and that the reason being is to prevent me from having to go to court and having to give evidence, because in the eyes of the Met, I had my honesty and integrity questioned because apparently I lied to a supervisor. So I was taken off the evidential chain.
Here's a question. See that officer that wanked on the train? Was he wanking on the train? No, in the park. He was wanking in the park.
Yeah. No, it was which one? There was a PCSO in the park, and there's an officer that was wanking on the train.
So the officer that was wanking on the train?
Yeah.
Was he still in the evidential chain?
No. They removed him from the evidential chain, yeah.
So what? So after he got charged, he got to keep his job?
Yeah, so he got charged with, I'm guessing, indecent exposure. He got to keep his job. I think he was I think he got a final written warning for less time than I did. I think he got 18 months final written warning, and he kept his job. I think he was put in a role where he, obviously nothing evidential, but he still kept his job.
The real question is, why were you punished so heavily?
I don't know. You tell me.
I'd say, look, if I'm being honest, you made a mistake. An honest mistake, because you forgot to tell someone something.
Yeah.
A mistake nonetheless, and we're in a job where you know there's consequences for your actions.
Of course.
Me personally, if I'm dishing out the discipline for you, you're getting misconduct. You're getting misconduct, because you have to give me a reason to punish. Like, okay, you forgot to tell me this. Fair enough. We're in a job where you need to be telling me this stuff. Gross misconduct's a bit harsh, but cool. Maybe I could stretch to gross misconduct. You're getting. I'll give you a written warning, and I'll say, listen, here's your next one. You're gone.
Yeah.
Your next one, you're gone. Like, you're gone.
Yeah.
Because you're taking the piss now.
Yeah.
You can't afford to not tell me, especially in the current climate that we're in, and what you're telling me about your partner.
Yeah.
So,
which I completely got. I put my hands up. I said, you know what? It was 2020. It was COVID. No one was having any face-to-face meetings. It was messed up in 2020. Like, it was crazy time. And I said, yeah, that I forgot to put in the form, and I forgot to tell you that we had 2 phone calls and a couple of WhatsApps and whatever. And I forgot, and I put my hands up to it. I disputed the honesty and integrity of the lying to the supervisor because that did not happen.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. They like.
It was his word against mine.
And this is what gets to me about this job. So I've been speaking to my federate, and I was like, so are you telling me that anyone could just wake up in the morning and say, Dom said that all white people are monkeys, and the DPS won't investigate that? They'll just simply say that I did that and I'm going to gross misconduct, and it's my word against that person. So
yeah.
Yes. And I'm like, why are we not an evidence-based organisation?
Exactly.
I mean, we are, because we have to find evidence to charge people, send them to court. But internally, it's like the rules don't apply. Why is that? And he's just like, it's dumb.
It's
Stupid.
ridiculous.
And it's insane that you don't need evidence to punish a police
because
officer.
as well, like you said, if you went to a call, and then you had 2 conflicting stories, you'd look for a third party. If there was no third party, you'd say, do you know what? We've got no evidence.
Interest.
We can't go forward with this.
CPS.
We've got no evidence. You're saying one thing, you're saying another, and there's no independent witness, which is exactly the same in my case.
Yeah, I find.
I actually had a statement from a friend that I'd had a colleague that I'd had a conversation with afterwards, and she'd remembered verbatim what the conversation was, and she'd given a statement in my favour.
How do you feel about the? I know we're sort of segueing, but I wonder how you feel about them getting rid of the LQCs. You know, the local qualified chairs.
I didn't know they'd done that.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure the Home Secretary, they've given the Met the power to basically chief officer to just fire officers now, accelerated hearings, and they can just be like, yeah, bye.
What? So they don't have a panel anymore?
Yeah, they try to get they got that. So it's not very clear. I need to read a bit more, but the way I read it, it was that so I think it's the commissioner can just basically be like, yeah, we don't want you, goodbye, after a hearing, regardless.
Really?
Yeah.
What? And they don't have to hear out the whole hearing and do.
Yeah, no, so they'll have the hearing, but
and then they can just
make
make
LQCs and all that stuff. They're just like, yeah, now bye.
No.
And they can overrule the LQCs, and it's like, well,
no, I
and
don't agree with that.
They're saying now it's only for the worst of the worst. The Michael Carrick, is it Michael Carrick? David Carrick. Yeah, idiot's name, but yeah, him and like the cousins, and all them. But they're like, oh, it's only for them, and it's like until it's not.
The LQCs would make the right decision on those people
anyway. Exactly.
So what's the issue there? No, I think they should still have them, because that was my saving grace with mine, and they actually used their brains and
I've seen them.
Saw it for what it was and how complex and complicated it was. Bearing in mind it's to do with my personal life. Nothing I'd done as in my role as a police officer or questioning my, I don't know, integrity with a victim or a witness or anything like that. It's to do with my personal life, me and my boyfriend at the time. And they saw it for what it was, and they used their heads and they made the right decision.
See, I've only been to one gross misconduct hearing, not for myself, obviously, but I've seen the way that they look at situations, and the ones that were there, they're extremely fair.
Yeah, they are.
Extremely fair.
Yeah, they are.
And I think that's because they're not police officers.
It is, 100%.
Because unfortunately, I didn't get to hear what the chief superintendent had to say. It was, I really wanted to know her views on it. She did ask some questions, but her mannerisms and her demeanour seemed as though she agreed with what they were saying. So she was like, yeah, I get it. And that's cool. And they were very objective about the process.
Yeah.
But if you let police themselves,
Nah.
you're gonna
They're so biased.
You're gonna have 0 black people in the Met within 2 years. They're gonna it's gonna be some exodus. They're gonna be on us. They're already on us now. The amount of black officers that have come up to me and said, I'm under gross misconduct for this.
I don't get why. Right, I don't even know what the percentage. You probably know more than me. We are such a small minority. 3%, and I think is that overall? Is that men?
Only black people. It's only black. That's black.
Like black women is the smallest minority in the Met.
Black women. I think there's like 300.
Yeah. Okay, there's like 300.
1,500. There's 300 black women.
And I wonder how many are up for gross misconduct. Like, how can such a small minority have such
We're inherently, we don't listen to rules.
Yeah.
We're belligerent and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
It must be, more, as you know.
Like, what are we doing that is so bad for them to be putting us through this process day in, day out, and there's so little of us?
Just look at your skin,
bro. But no one can answer that question. I've asked people that question. And everyone just goes, they can't answer it. I want answers.
Well, Baroness Casey's review highlights it.
Yeah, but then they all get all defensive. It's when that report, that's a conversation for another time. When that report comes out, and they're all like, they get so defensive. You go into work and it's everyone, it's a load of rubbish. I'm like, but it's not. But it's facts. Yeah, but no, but it's like, why are you so defensive? Why are you so defensive, John? Like, like seriously, like.
So you're not mad? I had that same conversation. So obviously, I'm on Pad P, and I had that exact same conversation. There was officers like sitting there, like, "Oh my god, I can't believe they said that about us."
Like they.
And I was like, my friend,
it's rubbish, whatever.
They're like, "Why aren't you angry?" I'm like, "Because they weren't talking about me." I was like,
exactly.
I'm not a rapist. I don't care. Like,
exactly.
I'm calm. Like, you can say whatever you want about this organization. I'm never gonna get butthurt because it's not me.
Exactly.
It's not me. They're rapists. They're murderers.
The ones that are butthurt, it's like, why are you getting so defensive?
Yeah. Why? Yeah. They're just.
There's no racism. I've never heard it in my 30-year career. Whatever.
You weren't here because you're saying it.
Exactly. Exactly. Like the people that actually say that, I'm like, I just look at them. I think. Surely, like, it's just, it's just crazy.
It is insane to think that, like, so many officers haven't seen any racism, even though there's so much racism, and it's been seen by every
it's scary that they don't identify what's going on as being racism because it's obviously normal to them, things they're hearing and seeing. And they just maybe they just don't identify it as racism because that's the norm to them.
So I said this on another podcast, and I was saying that officers, the reason that they struggle with black officers is because, white officers struggle with black officers and ethnic minorities is because they don't have any of those people in their friend circles. Yeah. So dealing with them is always a struggle. They don't understand our colloquialisms. They don't understand like how we respond. And how they normally accept them. Like, to them, in the men's showers, slapping someone's willy is cool. Do you get what I'm saying? That's totally appropriate. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, having your willy out and doing all that madness is okay. Yeah. That's fine because, everyone played rugby and you have to get naked in the shower. But you talk to the black guys and the black guys are like, fam, don't touch me. Like you see, like they fully understand. Don't touch me. They understand those like nuances. But when it comes to other ones, like being able to have a normal conversation, it may be about misconduct. It may be about just a small thing. Your Chris reports are a bit bad. They can't seem to articulate that conversation. Yeah. But they can take their dicks out and put it in someone's coffee. Do you get what I'm saying?
Oh my god!
And that's totally they totally understand that. But they can't understand, being able to have a mild conversation with the black person.
It's just crazy to me. Yeah. Let me go on to my story that I sent you the other day about the guy that I used to work with.
Oh, let me just be quiet. God, you talk.
Right, so I used to work with this guy. Right, let me paint you a little picture of him. Like those creepy disgusting, smarmy. Thought all the girls fancied him when we were all literally disgusted by him. That type. Couldn't take no for an answer. An allegation was made against him that he'd sent unsolicited dick pics to a few females on our team. That was reported. I don't think anything happened at first. I think it just got brushed under the carpet. He then went on to tell me that, I'll quote him, the only people interested in you are black drug dealers, in front of a room full of our colleagues, which, to be fair, most of them were like, what the fuck have you just said? A few of them put pen to paper. I made a statement, went to the governor, told the governor and the skipper what he'd said. They said, oh yeah, that's unacceptable. Sent it out to the DPS. DPS didn't want to know. Bounced it back down for the supervisor to deal with. Said, we're not interested in that. It's not something we'd be interested in. So it got dealt with on borough. It didn't get dealt with on borough. He basically, they asked me, are you all right if he stays on the team because he's going through a hard time at the moment, and if he has to...
everyone's seen his willy, that's why.
If he has to move teams, it's just going to cause him, like, pressure and stress. So I was like, do you know what, whatever, do whatever, I don't care anymore. Nothing's going to happen to this man. The DPS didn't want to know about what he'd said. I just completely lost faith in the system. And he stayed on the team, and I saw him the next day.
Was that your first time reporting?
Yeah, it was.
So
and I would never do it again.
Yeah, you're similar. Well, so you're similar to me. I lost faith after my first time reporting something, but I continue to report things because I need to show that the system doesn't work. Yeah. So the more I report and be honest and be like, yo, this is what's happening, this is what's happening, the more they don't do it, the more I can say, well, actually, you lot are rubbish and you don't do your job properly. Yeah. Like, the DPS hate me. Like, they hate me. I say that they're incompetent and they're not fit for purpose. I got misconduct for that, and I'm like, how do I get misconduct for a subjective view? Exactly. Well, it's actually more like an objective one, but regardless, you're going to say it's subjective. So why can't I say that you're incompetent? And they're like, oh, well, you can't. And I'm like, well, why? Because you're, what was it, eroding the trust in the police, or how do you think other black officers would feel? I'd be like, well, I speak to more of them than you do. Actually, no, that's probably a lie, because you... Yeah, you're trying to get them out. Yeah, you discipline all of us, so you probably know more than... But yeah, regardless, I know how they feel, because they tell me. But yeah, it's wild. It is. It's so wild. DPS are just... they are the actual ones. I used to sit down and think, oh, it's 19, it's TSG, and it's like, yeah, it's to an extent, but dickheads everywhere. Yeah. And some units are more toxic than others. Yeah. But you have to go to the root of it. It's like, well, why are they getting away with it? Because the DPS are allowing it to happen. Mm-hmm. Why? Because Dave left 19 and then wanted a cushy job and thought, you know what, my friend Mike is up in DPS, I'm just going to go there, sit down. Yep. Do you really need specialist training for it? I doubt it. And if you look at all their warrant numbers, they're quite similar. Yeah. So they're from a similar time frame. Because I always do that. Every time I get some shitty fucking letter from them, I look at the warrant number of the OIC or the whoever it is, and they're all very similar. They're from a similar time frame, like time period. Yep. Which I find quite interesting. All brethrens, they all came in at the same time. Like, yeah, come sit down there. It's an easy job. We just discipline everyone. And no one checks us out. No one holds us to account. So we definitely need to shine light, because the reality of the situation, it's not just a black problem. Most police officers hate the DPS. Yeah, they do. So they do. Even the ones that aren't having issues with them. Yeah. They're like, oh, DPS, everyone's got like that. It gets indoctrinated into you when you join. Fear the DPS, doesn't it? When you're at Hendon, like, they come in and do a talk and everyone's sitting there, like, looking at them, shitting themselves. But Star Wars? No. You've seen it? Oh, you wouldn't? No. I had a great meme. Did you see the one that I posted when I was the guy in the roller derby? And it was me versus the DPS. I did. Just fucking them up. Yeah, no, I did actually. Yeah, that's my life. Me just forever beefing them and them forever just throwing mud at me. And it is crazy. But yeah, where were we? I keep jumping in and interrupting you. So you're talking about the guy that you reported, and you reported him, and
he did like loads more as well. Not in relation to me, but he did loads more. None of that stuck. He just got moved to another part of the borough. Just everything just kept getting swept under the carpet. But if that was you or I, do you think that would have happened? No.
I can't tweet. I can't tweet now without getting misconduct or gross misconduct.
Exactly.
I can't do a damn thing.
Exactly.
Like they're on me like white on rice. So
exactly.
But yeah, so going back to where you had just got your gross misconduct.
Yeah.
What happened after to make you resign? Because were you going to resign after that?
No. So I had my gross misconduct, kept my job, went back to my role. Obviously, had quite stringent restrictions off the evidential chain. I couldn't work from home, couldn't take a laptop home. What else can I do? I think that was pretty much it, really. Still the same ones that I said earlier, so couldn't access certain things. So yeah, I was just doing my job, which was like a partnership job at the time on the mental health team. So it had no effect on what I was doing at the time. And then, how many months later? So I got the result of the misconduct hearing was July. So in the following year, well, what are we now? September.
2023.
So maybe fast forward 8 months. Yeah, because I've been off for 4 months. Fast forward, I'm going to be like chewing into the microphone.
I mean, such is life. Go on.
So then I get slapped with, we are reviewing your vetting status. So I'm like, okay, I know where this is going, because there was all over the internet, new policy. The Commission is reviewing vetting status of anyone that has been through a gross misconduct hearing. So I thought...
So every black officer everywhere.
Yeah, basically. So I thought, I'm on that list. So lo and behold, my vetting status gets reviewed. I get invited in for an interview with the vetting unit, go through my vetting. They ask me questions about my partner. Nothing new, everything that's always been on my vetting. Bearing in mind, I was vetted in February 2022. Just before my hearing. They cleared my vetting and I was given vetting clearance, and then I had my hearing. So they called me in, interviewed me. I went away and then found out a couple of months later that they'd taken my vetting away from me and I wasn't allowed my vetting anymore. So I had to give my warrant card in, hand over my laptop and be escorted out the police station. And I sat at home for the best part of 4 months. I'm still on that leave now. Sat at home for the best part of 4 months. To then be told that the appeal that I'd done wasn't successful and that the decision to take my vetting is going to be final, and that it then goes to a gross incompetence hearing where I'm going to be dismissed and lose my job. So I thought, nah, that's not happening. I'm resigning.
Who did you have to appeal
To who did I appeal to?
Was it back to the DPS?
Back to the DPS, yeah. Oh, look. Yeah, the ones that got me in this position in the first place and have been wanting to get me out since 2017. That's who I sent my appeal to.
This is who.
Make that make sense.
So, let me tell you a story about mine. And wait, should I talk about this now? Do you know, I'm not going to talk about myself. Okay. I'm going to talk about David. So there's an officer called David, and he reported a crime, and the crime got NFA'd. And then you have the victim's right to review. Yeah. So your victim's right to review, you're supposed to, another officer totally removed from the initial investigation has to review it. And it has to be like rank of inspector or something like that. They're supposed to come in and basically be like, look, fresh eyes, I'm just going to look at this, make sure it was done properly. If anything was missed, then no biggie. It's like, no one will get in trouble for it. It's just, someone else has a look at it of rank that's got more experience. Dave, wasn't it? Yeah. So Dave has done that, and then they, like, strangely enough, got the line manager of the officer who initially did the investigation. So the person who signed off for it to be closed, which is the line manager, was the person now reviewing it. Dave somehow found out that the line manager didn't review it at all.
Funny that.
Because the line manager wrote down and said that I'm not going to read this, it's too many pages. I agree with what the officer said because they already knew the whole investigation because they're the line manager. And they just said, no, I agree with the officer and closed it. That Dave was fortunate to be in a position to be able to find out that information. The average person out here is not going to know those kind of things. So the question has to be asked, how many times have such things happened to the average person outside who's gone, well, I don't agree with this outcome. I want someone else to look at it. And they may have just gone, we'll just give it to the line manager who already knows it, and they just close it anyway.
Yeah.
It's madness. This organisation, and do you know what? It's the organisation is mad, and I'm actually enjoying what's going on Twitter right now. This whole the firearms officers handing back in their tickets.
Oh, don't
They're
get me
having
started
the
on that.
biggest. They're throwing all their toys out the front. They're just like, one of our officers are up for murder. That's not fair. This is our job. Whether they're out here saying they're volunteers, it's like you didn't volunteer. You applied for this job, bro. You chose to do this job. Like, what are you volunteering for?
Exactly.
Like, nah. Like, just no one's even been. He just got charged. He just got. It doesn't mean he's guilty.
Exactly.
Or she's guilty. We didn't
And
know it's a
they're
man, is it?
doing all this, like, it's just, I'm not even
Yeah, they're on like the biggest matter. And now they're trying. It just feels like blackmail, and they're trying to like leverage the government. And think about it, they've said all this stuff in the public eye, and now the potential jury is going to see all of this stuff already, and it's like, well, how are they supposed to be unbiased?
Exactly.
And it's like they just totally just undermined any work that's going to be done, and. Then the commissioner's come out as well, and he's come out and he's gone,
I didn't hear what he said.
I'm like, fam, you just need to chill.
Is that what he said?
He basically said that he said something like that.
What, back the officers that have thrown in their
he
tickets?
generalised and said his firearms officers, but you know what, it's down to him what he wants to say, but me personally, I ain't saying nothing.
No.
I'm staying stum, because at the end of the day, if that guy goes down for murder, it's a tricky one, because if he goes down for murder, those officers are basically saying, well, we ain't coming back. That's not cool. That's not
But
right.
they will.
They will come back. You know they will.
Of course they'll come back.
So I don't want to talk about the specific case, but we can talk about the stuff around it. Those officers, yeah, and they're going to hate me for saying this, but it's all about power.
Yeah.
Them firearms officers, they're not going back to team.
Of course they're not. like they're going to do that. So I mean, it's all a big facade that they're, we're handing in our ticket. Mate, you're going to be out there with a gun again next week. Like, chill out.
Yep. Yeah, no one said your friend is guilty. No one has said that.
Exactly.
Just let the process happen. Let everyone actually have faith in the judicial system. That's what it should be happening. And you can be upset for your friend. That's calm.
Yeah, of course.
There's nothing wrong with being upset for your friend. But taking to Twitter and basically, and then handing in your blue card and saying, I have a right to reflect on how I feel. I'm like, bro, you do have a right to reflect on how you feel, and if you don't feel like you can carry a gun, that is a thing. As you know, I'm a firearms officer. Yes, you can say, I don't feel comfortable carrying today, blah, 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 for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I don't feel meant to, and you're within your right to do that, yes. But what I would say, any officer that did that, you might need to be evaluated before being given a gun again. Because if you're saying that this has damaged you or hurt you so much, I need to make sure that you're okay. Because if you go out and do what those other officers said, I just got told today. Did you hear about the two officers?
No.
The WhatsApp groups. When they said they applied for Pad P and they were waiting to be posted. It was in 2022 November. It was a WhatsApp group and they were saying, they want to shoot. They can't wait to shoot someone in their face. And they were saying they can't wait to tase like children and dogs and cats. And I was like, yo, what? How did I miss this? I got told. I'm not going to tell you who told me, but they told me, and you could find it.
So what's happened to them?
Oh, they got fired.
Oh,
but
okay.
Let that sink in. That's the type of person.
What, is this the Met?
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't hear about this. I didn't hear about this.
Yeah. A lot of people didn't hear. That's why I was baffled. I was like, you sure? And they were like, yeah, I'll send you the article right now.
Oh my God.
I was like, what?
Yeah, I didn't hear about that.
I might actually have it now. Let me just open up.
It might have been going on alongside some other big scandal or some other big case that was going on at the time.
So what happened is it was in that time when a lot of stuff was happening.
Yeah.
And firearms weren't under the microscope.
Yeah.
So it sort of that slid in the back door. But,
I don't remember hearing about that. To be fair, there's so much. I just get sick of reading it and talking about it.
I enjoy it. Oh, found it.
It just winds me up.
Wait. Now this is all about them refusing to carry their guns.
Oh, okay.
I'll have to find it later, but who told me they're not gonna lie, and they're not gonna exaggerate.
Yeah.
But so I jumped in again on you. Sorry. So where did we go?
So vetting removed.
Yes.
Vetting removed. Put on vetting leave. Ushered out the police station. Handed in my warrant card. And then sat for 4 months, didn't hear anything, had no support. Had support from my line manager, she's been great, but she's a friend to me now, so she supported me. But from my senior leadership team in my borough, I might as well have literally been dead to them. Like, they couldn't give a shit.
Yeah, they
like,
weren't.
No one reached out.
So
had to send a few emails to actually get some kind of response. Yeah.
Let me jump in and to any officer that's listening to this, or mostly officers, the Metropolitan Police aren't your friends. When people are telling you, don't worry, I've got your back, they don't.
No.
They're not going to support you. Yeah? They won't. You'll be by yourself and you'll be ostracized. It happens over and over again. There's reports about this. So it's not even like me just chatting shit. There's actual reports about the effect of misconduct in officers and the lack of support from the Metropolitan Police. So I'm not chatting shit or trying to gaslight. So
No, it's true. I've been through it personally. So I was left literally to stew for 4.5 months until they made the decision that they weren't going to give it back to me, and that's when I was forced unwillingly to resign. And this is where we are now. I've really condensed my story. My story is there's lots of other stuff that's gone on.
Well, then tell me the other stuff. We've got time.
There's just going back to the DPS, just how they treat you as a person. I've literally sat there, it angers me now because I don't want to sit there and be in tears in front of those people, but I've sat there in tears, had grown-ass men, bearing in mind at the time I was 24, 25, shouting in my face, telling me that I'm corrupt. They searched my house, asked me why I had...
Let me stop you. They searched your house for what?
So they searched my house, right, so
how
me...
were they using?
Section 18. This was when me and my partner had separated, right? He was not living at my house, but they decided to search my house when he was in custody. Bearing in mind, he'd given them his address. They searched my house, and the DPS then, in a meeting, produced a list of the stuff I had in my house. And some bloke, the superintendent actually, asked me, how can you afford a pair of Christian Louboutin shoes? They're
rich,
expensive.
I'm rich.
They're expensive.
Rich.
I was like,
you, fam. You're rich.
I was like, hold on a minute. If your little minions had done their job correctly, they would have seen the receipt that was in the box. The receipt from 2011. When I saved up all my pennies to buy those shoes. And anyway, what has it got to do with you if I choose to spend my hard-earned cash on a pair of shoes?
I feel upset because they didn't ask me none of those damn questions. They're Jordans. DPS, what's going on? You're my Jordans now.
They can't recognise those types of trainers. They can only recognise an obvious pair of shoes. And I just thought, they just want to make you feel like shit. They want to portray that you're this corrupt liar, basically. And that is what they've done to me for the last 4 years. And...
So there's a study about black officers that report states that black officers leave after the first 3 years. They resign because I don't think they say why. The report just states that they resign after 3 years. And my theory behind that is after the first 2 years, they spend so much time trying to do the right thing, and then they realise they get in trouble for the first time.
Yeah.
And then they realise you get no support, and they've probably tried to report someone, and they've got no support, and they've compared the two. They've gone, well, this is what happens when I complain, and this is what happens when someone complains about me. And they're like, fuck this, I'm overqualified for this job anyway. Why am I here?
Exactly.
Why? And that's actually quite sad. And it's mad because people ask me, like, oh, why do you want to be a police officer? You could do anything else. And I'm like, yeah, it's true. I can actually do anything else. And I think that's why I'm not actually that scared of those.
But you get institutionalised. Like, for me, it might be different for you, but I joined this job very young. And I had a little part-time job in Sainsbury's. And this was my first proper job. So for 9.5, near on 10 years, I have been institutionalised into thinking this is the be-all and end-all. And that I couldn't find something else and what. Now I'm sort of out of it. I'm like, what the fuck? I could do whatever I want. And I should not have to put up with this, basically, and what they've done to my mental health, how they've preyed into my personal life. To an extent, yeah, I get it. I chose to be in a relationship with someone that's got convictions, but I've always done the right thing from the start. And I didn't have to even tell them about him.
You didn't?
I could have just... I probably wouldn't be sitting here right now. Like, I wouldn't have resigned.
Yeah, but the thing is, you then be treading on eggshells. Like, it's just...
Well, yeah, that's why I took it upon myself to even declare him in the first place. I bet you there is many, many officers that have got what falls into the declarable association policy and won't be declaring that person. Family members, friends...
I want to know if there's officers that knew those, the ranking officers that killed. You see the one that killed himself because he had the kiddie porn.
Yeah.
And those ones. I'm
like,
I wonder if they're looking at people that knew them.
Well, yeah.
Are they?
I
don't know. I just, you know, it is just. I would like to think that DPS would, but I just don't think they do.
Won't. They won't.
I just have no.
They've got their list of priorities, and it's
black.
Yeah, and it's not. It's not anything else but that. And then they're out in the media, well, not the DPS, but the Met are out in the media. Oh, yeah, we want to recruit black and ethnic minorities. It's like, but why? You're trying to sack us all the time. Why do you want to recruit us to then get rid of us?
It's mad, isn't it?
It don't make sense to me.
It's crazy. I wouldn't advise anyone new.
I wouldn't tell
any black people.
I would tell them to run a mile.
Yeah.
Run a mile. And do you know what makes me think even more? Like, if you think how we've been treated, think how they're out there treating the black people in the public.
Yep.
Like, if they treat their own colleagues like this, how the hell are we treating black people in the public?
I mean, black people have been saying it for years.
I know, but like, it just makes you like, because I've never had a negative, you know, like I'm obviously a female, so
you're less likely
to get stopped, whatever. Live in, I won't say the sticks, but don't live in London.
Them nice areas, isn't it?
Yeah. So I don't get stopped, anything like that, and I don't even think even if I lived in London that I would, because as I said, I'm a female. But it just makes you think, like, whoa. It's just, recently I've just been thinking, how the hell are we treating black people on the streets?
Well, I once reported an officer who got swept under the carpet as well. DPS didn't want to know. I remember I was in a level 2 carrier. Nothing to do. In Westminster. And the skipper, bear in mind, this me and the skipper, eternal beef now, like, it's like a blood feud now. Like, my kids will hate his kids. Like, this is gonna go on forever. It's gonna go on forever. It's blood feud, like, that's it. It's done. Like, it's never gonna stop. It's gonna be one of them ones, like, 100 years later, they're gonna be like, why are we fighting again? Like, fuck it, let's go. The skipper was there. He gets a phone call from one of his friends, and they're like, "Oh yeah, come down to like my memory's gone rubbish. It's the back of Western Central. What area is that? Mayfair. So I come to Mayfair. I've got this job, and I don't like. You can hear a man on the radio. He goes, I don't want to do the paperwork. Bring some pens. You know how they talk about. Like, bring some pens. I need to do the writing for me. So we go there. Me being me, I'm like, I know he ain't talking about me. I ain't doing no writing for no one. We get there, and I'm sitting at the back of the bus. I'm the only black guy on the bus. I'm sitting at the back of the bus. I'm just chilling, as I always do. You know me, innit? I'm just chilling. He gets on the bus. This guy gets white guy jumps on the bus, and he just goes, "Yeah, so I've come across this domestic, and I'm not too sure what's happened, but this black guy has got this really expensive car. How the fuck did he own this? Like, he must be a footballer or something." I've sat up there, because you know I'm chill to the point where I'm laying, I'm horizontal. You know me, I'm like horizontal. I'm like that. So I sit up, and I'm like, so that's the only way we can have nice things, yeah? If we're like football players,
rappers, footballers, athletes, drug dealers. That's
and
it.
He's looked. He's just didn't say nothing, and he's got. So and I've said this loud. I'm at the back of the bus, so everyone's heard me say this. Gone to the front. Sergeant turns around and he goes, "Oh yeah," I can't remember the guy's name, so we're gonna call him Dave. He said, "Oh yeah, Dave's just like that, you know." And I was like, "Rah, did you just support what he just said?"
Dave's just like that.
He's just like that, you know. He didn't mean it. So I think he's reported it because he was scared I was gonna report it. I obviously reported it. And then he got in trouble for what he said. And then they tried to flip it on me and be like, "Oh yeah, he doesn't understand, blah, 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 blah." And I was just like, "Nah, pussy-o, you said what you said and you think what you think."
He doesn't understand what?
You know, and this was the PSU. The PSU did, not the DPS. DPS like, "Nah, I can't go." The PSU were like, "Oh yeah, nah, it's cool. We gave him words of advice and shit like that." And I'm just like,
words of advice?
Yeah.
How can you have words of advice? That attitude is indoctrinated into him. That is him as a being. And that's like a lot of people in the Met.
Man he was so confident just getting on that bus and just saying what he wanted to say. And I'm like, you lot are wild. Like, you lot have never been punched in the face, have you?
That is mad. I've had similar things on carriers though, like, it's like where other people might not pick up on it, but I do. Like, for example, I can't even remember what we was doing. We was doing some kind of aid, driving around in a carrier. And it was the governor actually went, "Oh, pull into this estate." I think we was in Lambeth somewhere. Pull into this estate. There was a car parked up. I think it was like an Audi 4x4, like X5 or something. Not X5, it's BMW. Something like that. And he was like, "What's that doing on the estate? They can't afford that around here." And it was like a black female in the car. "Let's get out and speak to her." I'm like looking at him like, why? Number one, why can you not afford a nice car if you live on a council estate? You probably can afford it more.
Well,
like, like, your rent's not going to be that expensive. Like, they're working people. Like, what? Why? Most people have a car on finance now. Like, it's not like you're buying out a car outright. What is your logic behind that comment? And then it's a black female, and if that was a white female sitting in that car, would you have told us to get out and talk to her? I refused to get out. I was like, I've got nothing to say to her. What am I going to say to her? Why are you parked outside your house? Like, it's just that this happens every single day.
Yeah, it does happen. But I could bet it happens across the Met.
But it's only people like you and I that would pick up on it. Like, maybe a young, inexperienced, white officer.
Oh, what white?
Might not pick up on it. I don't know. They might.
Do you know what? I'll be real. They do, but they're too intimidated.
Maybe, yeah.
So I don't think that they don't understand it. They know. They're like, well, that's wild, but you know, it is what it is, and that's messed up too.
And that's why we're in the position that we're now in.
But I can tell you a story. It's mad that we've got parallel stories. So this is how you know it's real. I was in Op Cubo. You know the Op Cubos in the street, stop signs. They're doing it on like Grosvenor Road. And okay, in West End, not West End, in Westminster, Grosvenor Road. Let's be real. What is the demographic that's going to be driving through from what's that area? From like basically the West End through down to south to Victoria, in the middle of the day, it's gonna be business people.
Yeah.
It's not that.
Taxis, fucking buses.
Taxis and maybe builders going from place to place. And I was with the TSG, like the bane of my life. God, I hate those people. Not all of them, just a fair few. They decided that they wanted to do their stop sign, and I was like, whatever. I'm just there to stop people walking in, whatever. But I can hear them on the radio. And then I noticed it was like Asian guy, black guy, Polish guy, driving like BMW vans. The white vans just get it. If you got a white van, the police are stopping you.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't like you because they know that it's more than likely going to be a Polish Albanian person.
Yeah.
And if you've got a BMW and you are not a middle-aged white person or even a young white person,
yeah,
you're getting stopped.
Yeah.
And that
or a Mercedes.
And I said to them, to the guy, why did you stop that person? It was like an Asian guy in a Beamer.
Yeah.
Fairly new. And you didn't stop that white man. Why are we stopping this one? It's the exact same car.
Yeah.
And they would say, oh, yeah, no, it's cool. I was like, no, it's not cool. I want to know why. What's your reason? And they were just like, oh, yeah, no, it's, it's the crime. I'm like, whoa. What type of crime are we looking for, first of all? And second of all, this is my borough, not yours.
Wait, were you a member of the, walking by as a member of the public?
No.
Off duty?
I was
on the op? Okay.
I was on the op, and I'm there sitting there I can see and I can hear on the channel.
Yeah.
Pulling, and I'm looking, and I'm like, Asian, Polish, Asian, black, Asian, Polish. I'm like, I mean, how good are you to be able to pick out an Asian, and then you will see it. There'll be a BMW 4 Series 16 plate Asian guy pulled over, BMW 4 Series white guy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so how are we choosing? And those are the kinds of things that happen every single day.
I know.
And it's so wrong. And you point it out and it's nice. They gaslight the shit out of you. No, what are you talking about? No,
we stopped it
like
because of this or because of that. It's like, no, you didn't. Go on, just be honest. Be honest.
Yep. Wait, can I talk about fuck it, I'm going to say what I tweeted because that's a factual statement. So it was about I'm not going to say what one it's about, but you might be able to guess. It's about one that's been a stop, very noteworthy stop of 2 sports people.
Yeah, I know.
Stopped by a specialist unit in the Metropolitan Police. And people were talking about it on Twitter and I was cracking up. I just tweeted, I said, can carriers pursue cars? And one guy was like, well, yeah, of course they can pursue. They can stop anyone. I said, no, can they pursue? Can you chase? And it's like, and I was like, yeah, that's gross misconduct right there. So while they're talking about, these officers being on gross misconduct and all the arguments about it, it seems like the standard operating procedure, SOP, just gets thrown out the window. It's like we forget for certain units.
You forget about that.
You're not actually allowed to chase a car. You're like, but they failed to stop. I'm like, yeah, that's called a pursuit. Yeah. As soon as they failed to stop, you're supposed to ring up whatever the channel is and tell them failed to stop, and then someone else comes and stops them. But it seems like certain units get to do what they want, and they, because the ends justify the means. But it feels like they're getting their comeuppance right now. So I'm just sitting here sipping my Kool-Aid, innit? Just like chilling, watching it.
Yeah, I haven't heard recently what's happened with them lot, those officers.
Gross misconduct.
Yeah, I knew it had gone to gross, but has it not gone to a hearing yet?
Right now.
Okay.
It started 2 days ago, so I'm just there. I was contemplating getting tickets. I was like,
getting tickets.
I get tickets?
Like it's a theatre show.
You can do it.
I know you can apply.
I was like, let me just apply. I've got nothing better to do. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm a member of the public.
Get tickets. And also, do you look at the one that's been on there for about 3 years, Commander Julian Bennett, that keeps getting put back and put back.
Cannabis
and LSD. So a guy that used to sit on the misconduct hearings panel, who used to make the decisions, he's a commander.
No, he's also the one that wrote the legislation.
Okay,
about
there you go.
The taking drugs. He was the one that said
he wrote the legislation. He makes all the decisions. He used to fire. He was renowned for firing like 50 officers a month, like proper hardcore in firing officers and whatever. Anyway, so he got found to have been smoking cannabis and doing LSDs. So he got suspended and obviously it went to gross misconduct. He's been having his misconduct hearing put back for 3 years. Why does he keep getting it put back? Every single time I look on the website, there's a new date for him.
Do you want to, shall we go? Me and you, just go.
I actually want to.
I think we should just go.
Like, it's a bit funny, isn't it, how his keeps getting put back?
Well, you know, it's weird, isn't it? It's just luck of their draw.
Just retire, mate. Retire. But then he probably can't because he's got
can't.
this.
When you're on the gross misconduct, you can't retire.
So what are they waiting for?
I don't know, for us to forget.
I will never forget.
I don't even know.
Even when I'm like in my new job, happy as Larry, I will not forget that. Julian Bennett.
Yeah, that one cracked me up. I was rolling because I was just like, they have...
No, he refused to take a drugs test, didn't he?
Yeah, he was just like, nah, fam.
Rusty sits at home and puffs on a big zoo.
I love how like they try and make out, oh yeah, it's a random drug test. No, fam, someone told you. I have been in this job for 10 years and never had a drug test. Do you know why? Because I never take drugs or even remotely look like or tell anyone I take drugs. Yeah. Yeah, they don't just randomly drug test people.
I know.
So yeah, it's all funny. Lies, but
yeah, I watched that. I watched the website and I see that and I'm like, again, put back again.
Do you know what the other one's gone quiet? The one with who's the black chief super?
Robin Williams.
They
got her again, didn't they?
Yeah, for not disclosing her name on the card, on her bank card.
Yeah, not disclosing that she'd opened a new bank account, but because she's a registered sex offender, technically, make of that what you want. I've got opinions on that case, but yeah.
You can say him because he's done.
I think it was completely harsh. And should she really have been a registered sex offender when the guy that wanked on a train avoided the sex offenders register? But yeah, so she was made into a sex offender.
Oh, and then when you say it like that,
but it's true though.
Oh my days, you're right.
Like, yeah,
she fucked. No, I'm not having.
He's not. No, he's not.
His name?
And I'm not saying his name.
You're allowed to.
No,
because
I'm not.
Isn't it finished?
No, I'm not saying his name.
No, type his name in. I'll type his name. I'm gonna find out. He must be on the sex offenders register.
He's not.
Oh, he looks like.
So
these pictures do him dirty.
I know.
Oh my days.
I know.
My man's got no neck. What's going on?
So I get that she messed up. She was sent something, whatever. Didn't even open it, should have reported, whatever. I don't even know what happened. Like, I don't know the fine details of it, but obviously she was convicted and was made to sign on to the sex offenders register. And then wasn't it that she'd failed to report that she'd opened a bank account as per her sex offender registration notification? Yeah. And now they're going for I think she got charged again, didn't she?
I don't know if she got. Well, you know, we can just check. I don't think she got charged. You know?
I thought she got charged for breaching the order, breaching sex offenders register.
I don't know. I know that she. No, you're right. She did get charged. She got charged. I believe she did. What's her name? Robin Williams. It's gonna come up with the Robin Williams. What name to have?
What's the time? So I need to go back to my dog soon.
Go get the dags.
My little dogs. Babies.
Well, there's nothing new. This is the last reports were in 20. Oh wait, Melf's charged with breaking sex offenders notifications requirements. It doesn't say when she next has her hearing, but people really salty about her. They hate the fact that she's still in the mayor.
Yeah, I know.
And it actually cracks me up because I've seen her and I've seen her there, and she fully smiles in people's faces like,
yeah, I know. I would too.
And then straight after she's like, oh yeah, they hate me. They wrote a statement to say that this, and I would stay there to piss your man off.
The fact that she got her job back, like that is good going.
Because they're incompetent. But anyway, it was great speaking to you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We're going to share some more stories.
Yeah.
Because I still got to tell my story.
Yeah, I could sit and talk all day, really. But
we can. You can come back. We're going to invite you back in because this has been like an hour.
Yeah.
So I'll release it in due time.
Yep, when I'm out of this hellhole organisation.
You just be free. You'll be happy. You'll be like a whole new person.
I will. I will
look
be.
different than all sorts. You're gonna cut your hair because that's what women do when they just
No.
get out of a bad relationship.
No, what am I, like Britney Spears circa 2006?
No, you don't have to shave it off. I mean, don't you like? That's the whole
No.
thing. Women like change their hair when they're out of a
Nah.
bad relationship and all that.
Nah. Maybe. I don't know.
What? You're gonna come up with like blonde highlights?
Nah.
Like, I don't know. Like, told you. But yeah, anyway, we'll call it there. Thank you for coming. Not gonna say your name once again, but yeah, I appreciate you coming and doing this.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
Anyway, we're out. Peace.